We can't hear you, Annabelle, though.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible now.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, thankful for the opportunity to gather as a community in borderless accountants, seeking growth, knowledge, and purpose. Thank you for the gift of learning and for this platform that allows us to connect even from different places. Thank you for the chance to attend this daily webinar session with our mentor Chris, where we can develop our skills and enhance our knowledge. Tools that will help us achieve our dreams and professional goals. We are humbled by this opportunity and reminded never to take such blessings for granted. As we begin this session, we ask for your divine guidance. Open our minds to new ideas and strategies, and give us the confidence to put what we learn into action. May today's session inspire us not only to excel professionally, but also to grow in character, resilience, and clarity of purpose. We entrust this learning session to you, O Lord. Amen. Good
Amen.
evening, everyone.
Good evening, and thank you, Annabelle. All right, so without further ado, parang ano lang. Let's move on to our wait lang, tech tip or quote for the day, whoever one is ready. So we have Mel for, is this a Japanese saying or quote, Mel? I'd love to hear that. And then for the tech tip, we will have Anna. So maybe we'll have Mel first. Are you are you ready, Mel?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Wait, let me share. I cannot see the.
Guru.
What's happening?
Yeah. I'd like to share. Good evening, everyone. The quote I'd like to share tonight is about. It's a Japanese proverb that says "Nana korobi yaoki." It literally means fall 7 times and stand up 8. I know that we've been through several obstacles or setbacks in our life. But this really always reminds me that even if we fall 7 times, we have to stand up one more than the 7 times that we fall down. It always reminds us that it really is about getting up and not let's not deal with the falling down. It's not about that. It's about the rise that we do when we face problems. Like for us right now, we apply to jobs and then we get rejected. It we have to try again and again, always. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. That was really nice. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. You can even fall many, many times and then continue to stand up. You know, such is life, right? Like we make mistakes, we encounter failures, but we don't stop, right? Like we
Yeah.
have to continue moving on because life does not stop with failures, right? So
Yeah.
thank you for reminding or for that good reminder, Mel. I really like that.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. And I think, Mel, this is also my first time to hear live from you. Although I didn't see you, I saw your beautiful photo. It's nice to meet you, Mel.
Hi.
Hey there, Mel.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Anna, I think I've already met Anna several times. But again, this is the beauty of the first few minutes, right? We get to know the members of the community. All right. Again, thank you, Mel. And nice to meet
Welcome.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Right. Now let's move on to Ana Ibasco for the tech tip. I think this is really good. How to create a topic in TG group. This one I have not used. So maybe by the way, the one that Adele shared, the Chat GPT Go, I subscribe to that. So thank you,
All right, yes.
Adele, for sharing that. It's good.
Okay, I'm actually now sharing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see your screen, Anna.
Okay. Now, yes, I'm actually sharing now our sheets
Mm-hmm.
for the tech tip. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of reluctant to share this tip because I don't know if the admin would approve of making some changes in one of our communication tool, which is
Mm-hmm.
Telegram. Because
Mm-hmm.
I noticed we haven't optimized our the use of our TG yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if the admin would agree,
Mm-hmm.
they can enable topics in the group settings, then create a new topic with
Mm-hmm.
a specific title.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having different channels inside the group where
Mm-hmm.
members can go directly on specific subjects. So similar to Discord
Mm-hmm.
or Slack. We can take
Wow.
advantage of a focused chat sections within a large group
Mm-hmm.
of over 200 members. So we're currently at 484. Just
Mm-hmm.
check earlier. So this is to discuss specific subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Setting this up could help us stay organized with separate threads. For
Mm-hmm.
example, we could put updates, announcements, general settings or general discussions,
Mm-hmm.
Q&A, links for resources, and also so some those kind of subjects or titles. So um, did your screen change?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
now
so
gone.
yeah, it says here how to enable Telegram topics. So I managed to source this some of tutorials, but yeah, just to save myself from presenting in case I hit a snag. So,
Mm-hmm.
just to save myself from human error and also because I won't be able to perform this on the actual tool.
Mm-hmm.
But so the admin can enable topics in the group settings,
Mm-hmm.
then create a new topic with a specific title. So if the admin would might want to add this feature, I have included other than this, I have included, can you see again the sheets, the Google Sheets?
Yes.
Okay, so I have included links here. One is this is a plain and simple step-by-step tutorial for the mobile and desktop.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it? And
Cuma nunggu kurang jangan nama bikin.
oh,
Umur muat itu nanti kecil-kecil tu ada kan.
okay. And there's also a
Mana lari kurang jangan nama bikin.
video tutorial. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
why is it not?
Playing.
These are two video tutorials. Oh, there.
Mm-hmm.
That one is for the mobile.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is for the desktop. So just click on them. And these are very short, so approximately 2 minutes.
Mhm.
So you can just follow this tutorial here if you might want to add this feature, which is topics. So yeah, I think that's my presentation for today.
Thank you, Anna. That was really nice.
Uh,
Thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely add that feature in our TG group for all courses, so that yeah we can start discussing different topics within the group. That is very helpful. And thank you, Anna, for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Welcome. Welcome, Chris.
My pleasure. Now, we happen to have a recapper. Adele has volunteered to do the recap. Adele, why don't you take it away?
Okay, good evening. So I will be doing the recap for our Friday session. Am I being heard?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So this will be for Friday session in which I am absent. What a good thing. What a good uh, that I volunteered on the day that I will be absent. Anyway, here's my recap. So the session was started by Michael with the opening prayer, and then Joel shared a tech tip. It's about the converting the characters or the letters from the lowercase to the uppercase, in which case we can use this when doing our tax forms. Yeah, so he said that we can use the formula um, equal sign plus the upper word, and then enclosed in parentheses the cell of the source. So in that case, once you did that, the lowercase will be in uppercase on the intended cell. JB also added that we can separate a string of
Nauulan ang negosyo
characters.
o kaya ay lumaki ang bukid o kaya ay lumaki ang ari-arian. Pagkatapos, pag
Adele.
umuunlad na yan, bunga na ang mga puno.
That's why you have to keep people on mute. All right. You may want to continue now. Oh wait, Adele, I muted you for by mistake. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So as I was saying, JB added some tech tip to what Joel has shared, wherein we can separate a specific string from a long string like address. So the formula for that will be the equal sign plus right, or we can say left, and then enclosed in parentheses will be the source cell plus the can I say the place in the particular string of words. Let's say the fifth one is the one that you are intending to be separated from a long string of characters. So we can say, again, the formula is equal sign upper, right or left, and then enclosed in parentheses, the source cell plus 5. So something like that. So those were the tech tips that were shared during that day. And also Joel was the one who recapped for the day 4 session. And for the quote for the day, Bryson shared the very best proof that something can be done is that someone has already done it. Okay, so he said that sometimes we are the ones limiting ourselves through the belief that we lack on something, or worse, we lack on everything. But the code challenges us to turn our inspiration, whatever that inspiration is that somebody has done it, into an action. Yeah. So for something that we have been inspired, Minerves shared her success story. She is now a new tax preparer for a business person from Georgia. She
Mhm.
said that she showcased her knowledge in navigating the software and the different tax forms. Yeah. So we need to do that also to be knowledgeable on the tax form, on how to navigate it, and filling up the forms. We are hoping that she will be able to share with us how she did her portfolio. I don't know if she were able to share with some of us, but yeah, I was looking for something to do last Saturday or Sunday, but I was not able to find something. I don't know if she has done the sharing. Yeah. So an announcement from Chris, he provided the link for those of us who want to have a one-on-one consultation with him. So the consultation will be for a minimum of 1 hour. So the link is in our Google Sheet. Okay. And for the Kahoot quiz, we have a new top-notcher. That's Chris G. So congratulations. And of course, I wish that my name will be there one day.
It will, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. So the main topic last Friday was on navigating the Pro Connect. So Chris showed us how to share the access to Pro Connect, which is from the Welcome tab, we go to the setting, manage the and invite users, add user, and then from there, provide the first name, last name, and the email of the person you want to share. And then we have to assign notes. But the no, it's not assign notes, it's assigned roles. Yeah. But the choices should be limited to standard all access or standard no access, and then edit the client access and choose from the drop down on the name or the client you want to be shared with this particular person. Okay. Yeah. And then click the send invite. So Cherry made the demo for this process, and Chris accepted the invite. And as an invited user, Chris can make revisions or changes in the tax forms of the taxpayer, which Cherry has given him access to. Okay. So for other demonstration, on the client that Cherry has added Chris to, so he changed the revenue in Schedule E from 10,000 to 15,000, giving a net income of 5,000 because we have a 10,000 allowed deduction there. The 1040 now shows an income of 5,000, which was shown also in Schedule E, which is the additional income and adjustments to income. So we now know that when we do the Schedule E, it also updates Schedule 1, and which also updates 1040, the form 1040. Again, another scenario that he showed us was that he changed the Schedule E income from 15,000 to 5,000 so that the schedule shows loss now. The loss is now at 5,000, and it also updated the form 1040. But since the taxpayer has no income, it was not used. So from the previous scenario, we have seen the 5,000 loss, but on the second scenario, the 5,000 loss was not shown. Okay, that's the update that was shown to us for the form 1040. Another scenario that he showed was when he updated the W2 income of the taxpayer to have an income of 50,000. The 1040 now shows that the 5,000 loss was deducted from the W2 income or the active income, lowering the taxable income to 45,000 because of the 5,000 loss from the passive income. Okay, so that's another scenario. And of course, he also showed how the loss limitations are being what can I say that? To show the loss limitations. So he revised the W2 to 115 to 125, but somehow in that taxpayer, which was shared by Sherry, we guessed that he guessed actually. It was Chris who guessed that there was something wrong with the software, and so he logged into his personal account to show the loss limitation, because what he was expecting did not happen in that scenario. Okay, so the next scenario he showed was if the taxpayer had more than 25,000 in losses for the passive income. He revised the Schedule E, which is the passive income. The amount of revenue was at 10,000. So revenue was 10,000, losses at 55. Therefore, there's a loss. No, the deduction is 55. So again, revenue is 10,000, deduction was 55. Therefore, there's a loss of 45,000. So he reverted the W income to 100,000. And in this scenario, only the 25,000 loss was deducted from the active income. Okay? Yeah. And then, ano pa? So he then changed the W2 or the active income to 125 just to show the phase out. Okay, just to show the phase out. And this time, when he changed the W2 income or the active income to 125, only 12,500 were considered from the loss of 45,000, going to 8582. Form 8582, it shows that 50% of the 25,000 limitation were considered as deduction. Again, only 50% of the allowable 25,000 limitation were deducted. Okay? So he then changed the W2 or the active income to 160,000, which is above the phase out range. And at this level of income, the passive loss was not considered or deducted. So to recall the previous day scenario, to recall the previous day's video, the Thursday video, there is a passive rental loss and the taxpayer has an income below the phase out amount or a phase out range. The taxpayer can deduct up to 25,000. So contrast that with a real estate professional where the entire loss can be deducted from his income. Okay. Another thing to remember is the phase out range. In the illustration where the W2 income is 160,000, so the phase out range is 100 to 150,000. Above that, there will be no more deduction. So basically that's the coverage of the discussion. However, Arnold asked about the phase out where a taxpayer earned a passive income of more than 150, the losses, or what we call the suspended losses, are to be carried forward to the succeeding year. And Chris has said that the carryover is for indefinite period. So yun yung my forever. Okay. Likewise, JB also clarified how to qualify a real estate professional. And these were the considerations. Number one, the taxpayer must perform more than 50% of their personal services in real property trades. And that they must perform more than 750 hours on services during the tax year in real property trades. Also, Anita asked, how would the phase out be considered for married filing separately, or MFS? It was Cherry who said that the phase out range for MFS is 50,000 to 75,000, so half of the MFJ. To illustrate, Chris changed the W income to 100,000 for MFS, and the Form 1040 then showed that the deductions were disallowed as the income is beyond the phase-out range, which is yung highest is the 75,000. He then again changed the W2 income to 45,000. The Form 1040 then showed a deduction for the losses of 12,500. 12.5, which is the maximum allowance for MFS. In summary, Tri shared that most of the filing status is either single or MFJ. So we don't have to worry about MFS, as most are either single or MFJ, and he seldom come across with MFS because they lose a lot of credit, like the EIC or the earned income credit. So today's lesson was, of course, to cement the theory that we learned, because we would know how to navigate the software and know how things work to make sense of what we learned. He said that it's important to know the why and not just the how. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele. That was very comprehensive. I appreciate that. Para tayong bumabalik sa classroom, ano? Thank you, Adele. Really appreciate you being very proactive and very participative. Para nakakinig na ako sa isang trainer, eh. No? Good job. And once again, thank you. So you guys are ready for the quiz? Or before that, let me just make a few announcements. On the Google Sheet, which is our shared file, there are updates in the notes and resources. So if you go to how to set up Drake, we want to thank Mel for putting this up in a Loom recording. Really appreciate you, Mel. And Drake is another tax software that you can use to navigate and experiment on preparing returns, simulated returns. And then Kelly added how to get an access to a VPN. So, because when you set up a Drake account, you'll need to use a VPN. So just watch those at a time that's convenient for you guys. All right. And I think that's just the announcement for today. One more thing, we'll only be up until 8:30 today because I have a meeting at 8:30. So we are going to end the session earlier than the usual. All right. So you guys are probably seeing my screen right now. I'm sharing with you the link to the Kahoots game. So 2411244 is the code. If you're using your mobile phones, just scan the QR code. So all of the things that are covered in this quiz are only those that were covered last Friday. By the way, guys, I'm seeing a lot of hiring for tax preparers already. November, December, I'm telling you, that's the season for hiring. So for those of you who are already employed and still thinking of, pursuing your full-time employment this year, you have a year to prepare, right? So that you can fully transition to a tax or a virtual work by November, December next year. For those who have or already are available and don't have a full-time job, this is something you would want to take very, very seriously. Spend so much time. There's a lot of resources online that you can even use Perplexity to generate, simulated forms that you can input into the tax software, right? That way you are comfortable navigating ProConnect and Drake, right? Those are already very, very good software that could possibly lend you a job, even if you don't have an actual experience yet. Okay, so let's start. Good luck. So we'll get the correct answer. It is $25,000. No more, no less. Except when there is a phase out. Right. 32. Got it right. Good job. So leader for today, Lani. Oh, JR on second spot. Nice. How to handle disallowed passive losses? Is it to deduct immediately? Is it to donate losses? Is it to ignore them or to carry them? Right, 64 got it right. Good job. Lani still in the lead. Matt taking the second spot. True or false? Rental losses always reduce taxable income. Is it true or false? Is it all the time or not really? So it's false, guys, right? Rental losses does not always reduce taxable income. It's if there's already phased out, right? So it's false. Right, Mark taking the lead spot now. What hours qualify for real estate professional? I mentioned to me Adele earlier. $750, guys. More than 750 hours. Adele. Oh, on the third place now, Adele. Which income is not passive? Is it salary, royalties, limited partnership, or rental income? Again, not passive. So meaning active, right? You good? All right, we have a new leader, Matt, coming on top. Adele still in the third place. Which Excel formula makes text uppercase? This was shared to us by Arnold last time. It's equal upper and then the cell reference. Right, Adele, lumalaban. I love it. Nagmamanifest ka lang kanina eh, but look at what's happening now. Which form calculates passive activity loss limit? Is it 8582? Is it Schedule T? Is it 1099? Or is it 1040? Again, I mentioned this to Adele earlier, but again, recap. Right. It is Form 8582. Right. Consistency, Adela, tsaka si Matt. Mary Chris is showing up. Nice. What should you verify for rental properties? Again, what should you verify for rental properties? Is it utility bills? Is it personal use days? Is it mortgage rates? Or is it insurance cost? So you have to know that thing so that you would know how much to deduct in terms of expenses. Is it 100% or is it a portion of it? So the answer is personal use days. Right. Mary Chris showing some promise there at third place. JR is still on the board. Which of these is an exception to passive loss rules? Is it a freelancer? Is it a stock investor? Is it a real estate professional? Or is it an employee? Right. It should be real estate professional. 28 of you guys got it. Oh, Adele. Look at that. True or false? Real estate pros can deduct losses fully. Real estate pros can deduct losses fully. That's what I demonstrated last Friday, right? If you put a tick mark, you get 100%. So is that true or false? So the answer is true, guys. It's true. It's like Donald Trump, right? Robert Kiyosaki. Those are famous people who are invested in the real estate market. Right? Arnold showing up. Good job. What is a passive activity? Is it salary income, rental property, lottery winnings, or interest income? Sorry, guys. I think they should. Interest income is also passive. I was not able to review it thoroughly. I'm sorry. But the answer, because it's related to our discussion, rental property, but interest is also passive. When can passive losses be carried forward? Is it every year? Is it never? Is it when not fully deductible or only in tax audit? So when not fully deductible, it can be carried forward to the following tax year. Right. Lumalaban si Adele. JR Mahabol. Nice. This is a nice game. Which IRS form reports passive losses? Naulit lang to. Is it 1099? Is it 1040? Is it a W-2 or is it 8582? Naulit tong question na to. And this is the very last question. So 62 got it right. All right. Who is our new leader? Adele. Oh my God. The power of manifestation, Adele. Look at that. You cannot underestimate the power of manifestation, right? Isn't it amazing? You just you just whispered to the universe earlier that you may have the top spot, and you just did. Congratulations. So now your name is on our top scorer tracker. Is it so nice to see your name over here? Right? We have several names there already. And just like Adele, you manifest that one day your name will also gonna be here. Right. Ang 9 si Cherry. Not bad, huh? You were about 70 plus today. Coming at 7, coming at 9, it's not so bad. So, nawala ng PLDT kanina. Loko-loko to si PLDT. Right? Isn't that a bummer when your connection get lost and you're in a competition? Or when you're in a meeting or in something in the middle of something very important? Yeah, it's a bummer. And It happens in the state, guys, too. I've experienced a lot of times terrible connections with people from the US. So we're not alone. All right. So did that make you feel, guys? Did that make you feel a little awake now? Right?
Volunteer na ng recap para mag-top din kayo.
I know, right? Correct, Miles. Pag nag-recap kasi kayo, parang mariretain nyo
Yes.
yung topic.
Now
And I was
listen,
talking
now
to
you know.
I was
Recap
talking
na.
I was talking to Jonathan yesterday, I think, and he was also the same as me. Like he said, mas nare-retain ng brain niya pag tinuturo niya, right? And that's also goes same thing that happens to me. Nare-retain ng utak ko pag sinishare ko. So yeah, it really helps. So you guys might volunteer to do the recap if you wish to be on the top scorer sheet as well. All right. With that said, let's move on now to our line material. So I believe we have tackled compensation already. Not sure if we have gone through the multiple choice though. Would you guys remind me? I don't think so, right? Because it's not yet picked. So let's just repeat compensation just so you guys be refreshed as to what compensation is about. One thing one thing you need to know, especially if you're a bookkeeper, is that when you're seeing transactions in whatever whatever bookkeeping software you're using for the client, if you see a contractor as an expense and also salaries and wages, so they most likely issue 1099, NEC, and W-2 to their employees, right? So you want to make sure that you ask your client if you are going to be the one to prepare the 1099 and W-2. Those, if you're using QuickBooks, those can be generated in QuickBooks too. And very important, you have to know the deadline. The deadline is usually January 31st of the following year. You have to provide that to your employees and your contractors. Otherwise, you'll be penalized by the IRS if you do it late, right? Because these contractors, these W-2 salary salaried people, they will need those to file their tax returns. Okay, and the IRS also needs those for them to have a copy of those documents. You get what I mean? So you have to process that and file those forms with the IRS. Okay, you have to file those forms with the IRS. So anything to do with compensation. Is it big enough for you, the screen? Or too wide or too ano?
Mahina lang yung audio, Chris.
Sir, mahina ang audio.
So first, the introduction is generally about full salaries, wages, and however, the compensation must several tasks. So what are these tasks? Well, first we have what are necessary, and that means that the payments must be necessary expenses.
Hey, wait. Okay. No, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I did not hit that share audio. So when you're sharing in Zoom, you gotta make sure that you take the shared sound icon. Let me take a screenshot of this. Hold on. And this is what I tend to forget. So my bad. So I'm just gonna share with you the screenshot. So that's how you share sound when you're sharing your screen. You have to tick mark that share sound, what do you call that? Box.
Chris, you're sharing your Facebook.
Paying
Facebook.
folks to work in a business is
Oh, really? Why am I sharing my Facebook? Did you see something that could upset you? Charot.
Hindi naman.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Okay, there you go. Am I sharing the right thing now?
Opo. Okay na po.
Yes po.
and reasonable in amount. Let's explore what this Paying folks to work in a business is very common. In tax, we have two overarching rules for deductible expenses: ordinary and necessary, and reasonable in amount. Let's explore what this means from a compensation perspective. So, first, a deduction is generally allowed for salaries, wages, and other forms of payment made to officers and employees. However, the compensation must meet several tests in order to be deductible. So, what are these tests? Well, first we have ordinary and necessary, and that means that the payments must be ordinary and necessary expenses directly related to the trade or business. So, for example, wages paid to factory workers are necessary for production. If the property is inventory, the wages are added to inventory costs. For other property, the costs are capitalized and then depreciated. Next, we have reasonable. The pay must be reasonable, meaning it should be the amount that would be ordinarily paid to someone else for similar services under similar circumstances at that particular point in time. 3, they have to be paid or incurred, meaning the expenses must have been paid or incurred during the tax year. Next, we have being actually paid to employees. Employees are generally individuals who perform services for a company, and the company controls when and how the work is performed. For example, a secretary working in an office is an employee, but a freelance graphic designer is not. Now, bonuses paid to an employee for services actually performed may be deducted if they are reasonable for the type of services performed. Vacation pay is income to the employee whether or not they choose to go on vacation. Cash and accrual basis taxpayers deduct vacation pay when it is paid. For accrual basis taxpayers, the deduction is allowed for amounts vested by year end and paid within 2.5 months after the close of the tax year. Gifts of nominal value are deductible as non-wage business expenses, but the deduction for gifts is limited to $25 per recipient per year. Gifts to an employee must not be excluded from income and are taxable to the employee. Transfers of property to an employee can also be considered compensation, and the fair market value of such property on the date of transfer is deductible. For example, if a company gives an employee a laptop worth $1,000, the company can deduct $1,000, but the employee must report $1,000 of income. Compensation can be more than just hourly wages and salaries. Sometimes benefits can be a huge part of pay. A popular option is a cafeteria plan. Cafeteria plans allow employees to choose among 2 or more benefits consisting of cash and qualified benefits. The participant does not include any benefit amounts in gross income unless the cash is chosen. Qualified benefits include accident and health benefits, adoption assistance, dependent care assistance, group term life insurance coverage, group legal services, and disability benefits. However, benefits like athletic facilities, educational assistance, and transportation benefits cannot be included in a cafeteria plan, but may be deductible under other paths. Check your Climb Knowledge Transfer outline for a current list of cafeteria inclusions. There are a few fairly common benefits which are deductible business benefits and may not be taxable income to the recipient. Health insurance premiums, payments for education, or even dependent care like daycare may all be counted in this category. These are all inflation-adjusted thresholds that may apply, so please check your GLIME Knowledge Transfer Outline for the latest amounts. Premiums on group term life insurance coverage up to $50,000 of coverage may also be deducted but are not includable in the recipient's income. An employer can exclude certain qualified fringe benefits from the employee's income. Examples include no additional cost services, qualified employee discounts, de minimis fringe benefits, qualified transportation fringes, on-premises athletic facilities, qualifying adoption expenses, and occasional tickets to sporting events. For instance, if an airline allows its employees to fly standby for free, there is no additional cost services included here, and those are not included in the employee's income. Note, however, if the employee is provided a car, it may still be deductible by the employer, but may be taxable to the employee. Payments for the services of a child under age 18 who works for their parents in a trade or business are not subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes, which combined are FICA taxes, if the trade or business is a sole proprietorship or a partnership in which each partner is a parent of the child. Taxes, which combined are FICA taxes, if the trade or business is a sole proprietorship or a partnership in which each partner is a parent of the child. So, for example, if a child helps out in their parents' family-owned store, their wage.
Oh my God, what is wrong with this?
Who works for their parents in a trade or business are not subject to is provided a car, it may still be deductible by the employer, but may be taxable to the employee. Payments for the services of a child under age 18 who works for their parents in a trade or business are not subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes, which combined are FICA taxes, if the trade or business is a sole proprietorship or a partnership in which each partner is a parent of the child. So, for example, if a child helps out in their parents' family-owned store, their wages are not subject to these taxes.
Right. So, pause muna natin dito. Guys, this is really good tax strategy. So again, if you're a bookkeeper and gusto niyo magpa-impress dun sa mga clients niyo, introduce this concept, right? Like they can employ their kids as ang natutunan ko naman sa WITA was that ang proven na age ng IRS na ina-allow nila is 7, as early as 7 years old. They can help out in the business and they can be paid, right? And when they're paid, it's a deduction as a business expense. But on the part of the kid, it's not taxable, right? For as long as hindi naman siya more than the standard deduction, right? So how much is a standard deduction for a single? It's about 12,500 at that, somewhere around that. If within that amount or below, then that would not be subjected to tax. Or they can also do contractor, right? Contractor role for minimum of $600 or less. Then they can also be a business expense, right? And that's what a lot of taxpayers are missing out on because, for one, what's happening is that when someone is preparing taxes, the engagement is really just to prepare taxes, right? So most firms, what they do is they get the documents from the client and prepare the return as it is, right? Without looking at possible savings for the client, right? Like when you prepare taxes, you may look at this one, for example. You know that there are dependents. When you prepare the tax return, there are dependents, but you don't see any deduction related to kids working for the business. Right. So as a taxpayer na proactive, that could be something that you can ask the client, right? Have you paid your kids to help in the business? That could be a possible business deduction that could help you minimize your taxes, right? And again, if you're not yet a tax preparer, you're a bookkeeper, to help you get a really good reputation before your client is, now that you're knowledgeable about this, you may want to introduce your client to this, right? Because that means you're someone who are adding value to your client, even if you're just doing bookkeeping stuff.
However, wages for the services of a spouse are subject to income tax withholding and Social Security and Medicare taxes, but interestingly, not FUTA taxes. You'll note this exclusion generally applies only to sole proprietorships or partnerships where both spouses are partners. It's also generally downward, meaning kids employed by their parents, as opposed to upwards, meaning parents employed by their kids. A statutory employee is an independent contractor who is treated as an employee for employment tax purposes. For example, a driver who distributes beverages is a statutory employee. They report their wages, income, and allowable expenses on Schedule C of Form 1040 and are not liable for self-employment tax because their employers must treat them as employees.
Right. What's going on with JT? Why is he pausing every now and then?
For Social
Let me clear my temporary
Security and Medicare tax purposes. Employers must file Form W-2 for wages paid to each employee from whom income, Social Security, or Medicare tax was withheld. Employees provide Form W-4 to their employer to determine the amount from each paycheck to be withheld for federal income taxes. Employers must also then provide W-2s and various 1099 forms to employees and independent contractors by January 31st of the following year. Oh, speaking of 1099s, there are a few different types noted in your Gleim Knowledge Transfer Outline, so please make sure you review those, which are pretty straightforward. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, any business with $10,000 or more in cash transactions from a client must report it on Form 8300. So after an employer withholds taxes based on the employee's directions from the W-4, the funds have to be remitted to the government. Employment taxes include withheld income tax, FICA contributions, and employment taxes include withheld income tax, FICA contributions, and backup withholding on reportable payments. Based on the cash transactions from a
So clarification lang, yung Form W-4, hindi naman yan yearly nire-require kay employee, only when there are changes in the client's or in the taxpayer situation, right? So initially, when someone gets employed in a firm or in a company, they would fill out a Form W-4 and provide that to their payroll department so that the payroll department knows how much to deduct or to withhold in terms of taxes, right? And then when you notice that when you're preparing taxes, there's under withholding or over withholding a very significant amount, you may want to tell your tax client to update their W-4 with their employer, right? Like for example, when he started with the company, single siya, right? So nakalagay dun sa W-4 niya, single, right? But after a few years, naging married na siya. So in that case, he has to update his W-4 because there is a different tax rate for single and married filing jointly tax filers. Okay, so that's one thing. They need to update their W-4 depending on their circumstances, right? Because you don't want over withholding as much as possible, because over withholding meaning the government is taking money more than they should. And that means there's a lot of opportunity loss there because that taxpayer could have used the money into something else, right? Like it could be an investment or something for his cash flow purposes. So yeah, that's one thing that you want to be mindful with so that you can provide proper advice to your taxpayer clients.
Client must report it on Form 8300. So after an employer withholds taxes based on the employee's directions from the W-4, the funds have to be remitted to the government. Employment taxes include withheld income tax, FICA contributions, and backup withholding on reportable payments. Employers must deposit these taxes based on their deposit schedule, which can be monthly or semi-weekly, depending.
Right. The same thing with the Philippines, right? Like our employers withhold taxes on our pay, and they have a certain deadline to file a tax form before the BIR because they will have to remit that withholding taxes before the BIR. The same thing with the US. It has to be monthly, but the filing is quarterly, and that's Form 941. This is something you may want to consider. We don't tackle Form 941 here because this is a specialized form, right? Specialized form because this is done quarterly and this is kind of time sensitive. And the IRS deal with it more strictly than a Form 1040. Why? Because there's a trust fund situation here, meaning the government entrusted you with the money, you have to remit that to the government in a timely manner. If you don't, you'd pay hefty penalties and fines. Okay, so kaya most firms, they don't do payroll because masakit din sa ulo ang payroll sometimes. But you may come across someone who's hiring a payroll tax accountant, and if you're interested in payroll, this is something you would want to learn. Form 941. You can research about this in many, many resources out there.
On the total tax liability reported during a look-back period. So for example, if an employer's total tax liability is $50,000 or less, they must make monthly deposits. Interestingly, there is a one-day rule where the employer is, being a fairly large employer with $100,000 of employment taxes, it must make a deposit of those taxes by the close of the next business day. Reconciliation reports of the amounts withheld are typically done on a quarterly basis using Form 941. FICA and income tax withheld is different than federal unemployment taxes or FUTA. Those are quarterly, but it is a different schedule and process. All right, that's a wrap on compensation. Thanks for watching. Mr. Aspen, a cash basis CPA, pays Gail Smith to work during tax season as a data entry clerk. Mr. Aspen pays Gail the following. So we've got some hourly wages, a bonus, and a loan. How much can Mr. Aspen deduct as compensation? Okay.
You guys take a stab on this. What do you think there are deductible employee compensation? Right. While you're answering, question from JR. If the government over withheld, is there a chance to be refunded in the tax return? Yes, that's precisely why most taxpayers file a tax return to get their refunds. And it's not the government that's withholding the employee. It's actually the employer, right? The employer makes the withholding from the employee's pay. And that's also based on the W-4 that the employee filled out, right? And that withholding tax is remitted to the government, right? So hindi yung government ang nagwi-withhold, ha? It's the employer, okay? And if there is over withholding by the employer, the taxpayer will get the refund few weeks after the tax return is filed. King, that does not need to be amended, right? That doesn't need to be amended. It's just the regular tax return, right? So answer is letter B. Let's check that out.
So this question, don't overthink it, right? This is just really asking you, don't add to the fact pattern. Don't think outside the box. Stick with what is given to you and don't overthink it. So can we deduct hourly wages? Absolutely we can. Can we deduct a bonus? Absolutely we can. Can we deduct a loan? No. A loan is a loan. We don't deduct something that we anticipate being paid back to us. So absent anything else in the fact pattern, we're going to assume that that loan is a true loan and it's going to get paid back to us. Therefore, $6,275 plus $500. That should come up with $6,775. B is our answer. With regard to the tests for deductibility of compensation, which of the following statements is false? Okay, let's find the one that is just false. Okay, A, the fact that you pay your employees for legitimate business purposes is not sufficient by itself for deducting the amounts as business expenses. So is that true or false? Well, that's actually true. So we recall that, yes, we have legitimate business purposes, but it has to be reasonable in amount as well. That's a phrase that we should recall. Speaking of reasonable, take a look at B. Reasonable pay is determined.
Chris, nakamute ka po.
I'm sorry about that. So yeah, so with regard to the test for deductibility of compensation, we're looking for the false statement here. The fact that you pay your employees for legitimate business purposes is not sufficient by itself for deducting the amounts as business expense. No. Letter B, reasonable pay is determined based on the circumstances at the time you contract for the services, not on those existing when the amount of pay is questioned. Or letter C, in determining if salaries paid to your officers are reasonable, the total amount paid to officers is compared to the total services provided by the officers. Or D, the expenses must have been paid or incurred during the tax year. Right,
based on the circumstances at the time you contract for the services, not on those existing when the amount is pay is questioned. Okay, so yeah, inflation moves on. You might get audited 3 years later, so that seems like it could be reasonable as being true. So that one doesn't feel false to me either. C, in determining if salaries to your officers are reasonable, the total amount paid to officers is compared to the total services provided by the officers. So is that true? Well, let's just read D, since that's a short one here. The expenses must have been paid or incurred during the tax year. That one we know to be pretty true as well, right? We know the 2.5 month rule. So it doesn't seem to me to be A or D. So let's eliminate those. Okay, let's read through C one more time and just kind of think through that. It says, in determining if salaries paid to your officers are reasonable, the total amount paid to officers is compared to the total services provided by the officers. So this one is kind of interesting, right? C is the correct answer because that ends up being false. What we're interested here is that the test must be based on whether or not each individual's salary is reasonable compared to the services performed, not whether the total salaries paid to all officers or employees are reasonable. So I think this is, on its surface, looks like it should be a correct answer, but it's asking about to your officers, plural, right? We got an S right there. So it's looking for the plural, the total amount paid to officers. You have to go officer by officer, individual by individual in order for making that determination. You can't look at it in totality. So C is our correct answer here. Kind of a challenging one, but watch for those pluralities just to see, are they trying to paint a broad brush here? And what if we had one officer who's semi-retired? And that's ultimately what we're getting at here with this response. So C is our correct answer. That's false. Got to look at each individual officer.
We're now heading to the second sub-lesson. This is pretty annoying, right? When the connection buffers, it's annoying.
Cost of goods sold refers to the direct costs
Let's try it again.
Cost of goods sold refers to the direct costs associated with producing the goods that a company sells. These costs include materials and labor directly used to create the product. Cost of goods sold is subtracted from revenue to calculate gross profit. Now, usually we call this COGS for short.
Sorry, guys. It's really my connection. Let's start over.
Cost of goods sold refers to the direct costs associated with producing the goods that a company sells. These costs include materials and labor directly used to create the product. Cost of goods sold is subtracted from revenue to calculate gross profit. Now, usually we call this COGS for short, cost of goods sold, COGS. And it's really best understood through an example, so let's walk through one together. So let's say that a company begins the year with 10
Maybe we can replace that with this recording. This is the same. So this was the old line resource that I have saved. Use this instead.
This video covers the question, what is the amount of deductions? Specifically, this video focuses on cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, or COGS as we say, is the value of inventory sold during the course of the tax year. Cost of goods sold is not a business deduction, but it does reduce gross revenues. For purposes of your studies, you can think of it like a deduction as it does reduce income. COGS is calculated as follows. Beginning inventory plus raw materials, labor, materials and supplies, and overhead. These amounts together are cost of goods and inventory. Subtract ending inventory from this amount to get COGS. Let's break that equation down into each item. Beginning inventory is the ending inventory from the previous year. Raw materials include the cost of all materials or parts purchased for manufacture into a finished product. Raw materials also include the cost of freight in. Labor includes all direct and indirect labor costs that are attributable to the manufacturing of a product and are included in COGS. Any labor costs not properly attributable to COGS may be deducted as selling or administrative expenses. Materials and supplies used in manufacturing goods, such as hardware or chemicals, are charged to COGS. Overhead expenses that are necessary for the manufacturing of a finished product are charged to COGS. The cost of inventory must be reduced by any trade discounts received. Costs to ship to the purchaser are selling expenses, not cost of inventory. Goods included in beginning inventory that are donated to charity reduce the goods available for sale in the amount of their adjusted basis. Manufacturers are required to use the full absorption method of costing. Therefore, both direct and indirect production costs must be included in cost of goods sold. The GLIME materials provide many questions on calculating cost of goods sold. Please make sure to spend the time reviewing these questions, as this is an example of a topic where the best way to understand these concepts is to go through a calculation example.
All right. So cost of goods sold, you don't really need to calculate this when preparing a business return. So if I may just open ProConnect. And usually this is provided by the bookkeeper as well, but you ought to know where to input cost of goods sold, okay? So let's open ProConnect. So cost of goods sold could be applicable for Schedule C, 1120S, 1065, or 1120. So let's open this, for example. Six, 7, 8, 4, 7. Let's open first a personal return. So you would know the type of return here, the type C. So we're opening 1040. And on a Schedule C, Schedule C works a little different because there's no balance sheet. Only in 1120S and 1065 would a balance sheet be applicable. So if you go to Schedule C right here, there's a specific form for cost of goods sold. Go to income statement. Right, so you have your gross receipts right here. And then the cost of goods sold will be somewhere over here. Let's see, where is it? Here. So beginning inventory, purchases, labor, materials. So it's very straightforward. You just have to fill in the right amounts in the right fields, right? So you input here the beginning inventory and the ending inventory. For a business return, though, slightly different. There's a form 1125C, I think. So let's open an 1120S return, for example. So in the cost of goods sold, you don't input the beginning inventory and the ending inventory because they should be in the balance sheet, right? So the tax form picks the number from the balance sheet. So your balance sheet is here, Schedule L. So you see here, you have your inventories, right? So inventories, you have your beginning, and then you have your ending, right? And then when you go to the income, there is this form 1125A. That's where you input the purchases, cost of labor. You don't need to put in anything in here, okay? You don't need to put anything in here. It will pick, again, the amount from the balance sheet. And then so is your ending inventory, right? And same thing for and a 1065 return. There's also a separate section for cost of goods sold. So usually these are for manufacturing businesses or merchandising. The applicable to for a service-oriented business. So here, as you see, there's also another form, also called 1125A, for cost of goods sold, right? So there's not much complication in terms of calculating the cost of goods sold from a tax preparer's perspective, because this should have already been provided by the bookkeeper, right? So it's actually the bookkeeper's role to provide the cost of goods sold to the tax preparer. All right, so let's skip that because we already heard the other presenter.
The FX partnership manufactures garden hoses for sale. In the month of January, its sales were $80,000. During that month, the partnership had the following. We've given some information there. All right, ultimately, what's this question looking for? What is the cost of goods sold for the FX partnership for the month of January? Okay.
So I need to answer, and this would be easy for already those who have accounting background. Sa mga wala naman, don't worry about it. You're not really going to be calculating cost of goods sold when you're preparing tax return, but it's a good to know thing. Right? Try nyo pa din i-compute or answer yung question na to. So we're looking for the cost of goods sold for the month of January. There was no beginning inventory because probably the business has just started that month. Raw materials were 35, raw material shipping costs 1,585, direct labor 27, production overhead 6,000, ending inventory of January 31, 10,000. So how much is the ending inventory? So you guys, sino mo bilis mag-compute?
So cost of goods sold, we often abbreviate COGS. We say COGS. So what is the cost of goods sold? Well, we kind of got to figure out, well, how much did you sell? So if I started with 0, okay, and I know I ended up at 10,000, where do I land in between? And it's interesting because sales is given to us here. We don't need sales though. We're dealing with cost of goods sold. We're not dealing with profit here. So I don't need to know what the sales were in particular. So if we start with 0, so that's easy. We'll just leave it off. How much in total inventory did I produce manufacturing these garden hoses? Well, I'm going to start here with the $35,000. And that's the raw material that I purchased. And you got to have it shipped to you. So that's just a cost of your material that will bake into it as well. So I want to pick up that $1,585 as well. We also will attribute any direct labor to the value of that inventory. So if your employees are touching that inventory, manufacturing it, they're taking it from the raw rubber and making a garden hose in this situation, that's adding value. So I have to absorb their costs into the ultimate valuation of my inventory. And we actually call that the full absorption method of costing. And then I'm also going to pick up that production overhead. So that's electricity, that's kind of utilities, that kind of thing for my overhead. So I'm going to pick all those items up. Let's grab our calculator. Don't want to try to do this in our head, so we'll move this over to the side. Always use your calculator, even if you can do the math in your head, just to double check yourself. So 35,000 plus 1,585 plus 27,000 plus $6,000 gives me $69,585. And I see that as one of our options. That's option C. That would be a trap. Don't fall for that trap. That's the total that I potentially had available. But we noticed that we had ending inventory of $10,000 here. So I need this $10,000 because that is still available for sale at the end of my period. I didn't sell it, and it's looking for my cost of goods sold. That S ends up being really important there in COGS. So if I take $10,000 out of my amount, now I'm left with $59,585. That's the cost of my goods that were sold. So cost of goods sold, $59,585. B's our answer. Which of the following statements concerning inventory
Sorry, basahin niyo na lang po, guys. Naglo-load siya. So which of the following statements concerning inventory valuation is true? A, all taxpayers are engaged in manufacturing or production must use the full absorption costing method for valuing inventories. This seems to be true. The cost of inventory must be reduced for trade discounts. This seems to be true as well. The cost of inventory must be reduced for cash discounts. Yung 3 ay tama. Parang mali. Kasi kung cash discount, di ba discounted na yung price? I think. Not sure. So let's see.
concerning inventory valuation is or are true. All right, so we got to find which ones are true. So 1, all taxpayers who are engaged in manufacturing or production must use the full absorption costing method for valuing inventories. Is that true? Yeah, actually that is true, that if you are using your inventory, you got to follow that full absorption costing method. You can't pick and choose. That's the approach. Okay. 2, the cost of inventory must be reduced for trade discounts. And then just to round it out, 3 is the same, except it must be reduced for cash discounts. So this should first kind of think through what's the difference between a trade discount and a cash discount. So a trade discount is an agreement, to think of it like volume pricing. This is like going to a warehouse club store. You're buying in bulk, you get a little bit cheaper, economies of scale kick in. You have agreed with the supplier to a lower price up front because you are ordering a higher amount. That's a trade discount. So a trade discount, you know that is cheaper inventory right up front. It's not contingent on anything. Whereas a cash discount typically is contingent. This could be, look, the price is $1,000, but if you pay us within 10 days, we'll give you a 2% discount. That'd be a cash discount. Or maybe just even paying in cash, right? Use an ACH transfer as opposed to a credit card payment. That can be an impact here as well. Interestingly, for cash discounts, a taxpayer has an option to either reduce the discounts. A taxpayer has an option to either reduce the cost of your inventory or treat that cash discount as income, as other income, because they paid less than they actually owe. So their expense, their cost of goods sold, will eventually be a little bit higher than it needs to be. So the correct answer for us here is this one, C, 1 and 2 only. 3, it's the only quirky little one that gives us an option to either reduce our inventory cost or take it as income for that cash discount. All right, my friends, C is the answer.
All right. So time check, it's 8:31. That would be our, let's see, that would be our last topic for tonight. Tomorrow we'll continue and we will cover interest expense, rent expense, and taxes. So by tomorrow, hopefully tapos natin ang study unit number 4. 4 out of 20. Yes, Sherry.
Hi, Chris. There's some questions regarding my presentation last time dun sa vacation home. Can I borrow the excess time to, to show yung saan dapat mapunta yung passive loss?
Sure. That would be lovely. So I'm gonna take off for now, guys. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. If you want to stay, Cherry is gonna be presenting her answer to, I think, Lani's question on the mortgage interest. So you want to stick around, that's completely up to you. I'll just make you the host, Cherry, so I can go.
Yes.
And then take it from here, okay? Thank you guys for the night, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cherry.
Can you see my screen na po, guys?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes
marami
po.
kasing questions regarding dun sa last na, magtatagalog na ako para madali natin maintindihan. Marami kasing questions dun sa last na ginawa ko and hindi rin siya accurate. So, eto, ni-review ko siya and ito yung mga questions, no? Yung question na una is dito sa income statement. Ayan yung tawag dito. Yung rent income na 10,000, tapos 'di ba may mortgage tayo na 12,575. Tapos may utilities tayo na 1 basta 1,408 yung carryover. Yung ibig sabihin po nung 1,408 na carryover siya as expense next year kung sakasakali po na kaya pa siyang i-cover ng passive income as expense. Kasi hindi mo siya na-expense this year eh. So, kung may income pa next year, passive income, at kaya pa siya i-charge na expense next year, pwede nyo po siya i-carry forward as expense next year sa income statement. Regarding naman po dito sa 2,575 na mortgage, ang tanong kanina nila di ba 10,000 lang yung mako-cover kasi
Ayun yung percent mo.
yes, kung magkano lang yung passive income, yun lang yung kayang i-cover so maglolos ka dito na ang mangyayari dito yung 2,575 magiging passive loss siya. Sorry, hindi ko siya masyado na-explain nung last time. Ngayon, tong 2,575 dapat lalabas siya dun sa Form 8525 ba yun? Form 8, yung kanina yung in-exam natin. As
8582.
as passive loss carryover. However, hindi siya basta-basta naki-carry forward kasi may allowance na 25,000. So ngayon, para malaman natin kung mag-carry forward siya, dapat mag-base tayo sa AGI. So hindi kasi ako last time naglagay ng dito sa W2 yung income. 'Di ba yung AGI natin is 100?
25K. Kung meron
One-
lang active income, may W2 lang. Pero kung walang W2, purely yung rental income lang. Saan
Paano
papasok
ba
yung
yun?
25? Kung walang wages na i-declare.
Kasi ni-research ko yan dito ito yung sagot dyan eh. Ewan ko kung makikita nyo. Para kasing siya, maki-carry forward pa rin siya, pero upon sale of sale of rental home.
Oh, okay.
Nakikita
Kasi
nyo yung,
tataka lang ako
tong,
bakit allowed
yes,
yung rent at saka depreciation, yung repair saka depreciation. Pero
yes.
ba't yung excess ni mortgage interest, ba't hindi siya pwedeng i-disallowed and then carried over?
Yeah, kasi yung utilities tsaka yung hindi natin siya anong tawag dito? Hindi natin siya nabawas dahil nag-negative na tayo dun sa mortgage. And yung mortgage kasi, parang may na-research ko siya, tier 1 expense siya. So, kumbaga, may halo siyang personal and business. So, parang uunahin mo siya kasi kailangan mo i-segregate yung personal. Kasi yung sa business naman, yung mga utilities, merely for lang siya, katulad ng depreciation. Parang ganun yung pagkakaintindi ko eh. Nakikita niyo yung dito kay ChatGPT ko.
Pero yung repairs, pinurate din natin siya for personal tsaka yung during rental period.
Yes, kasi nakalagay kasi dun sa scenario, yung nakalagay sa scenario, tawag dito? Si depreciation is for the rental period. Pero kay walang nakalagay na for the rental period. Dun sa scenario, sa question, walang nakalagay na for the rental period siya. So, automatic, parang iaano mo siya, ma-allocate siya. Wait lang, i-continue ko lang tong what if etong may salary. Kunyari may salary siya, 120,000. So, ngayon, since ito, di ba may allowance na 25,000, and since mababa yung 2,500, automatic, siya, automatic, mababawas siya sa yung passive loss mo, automatic deductible siya. Kaya pag ka, Nag-input, teka, pakita ko yung form. Naghang na ako, input return. Kung may income ka, AGI ka, mag-automatic deduct siya yung passive loss mo na 2.5. Hindi ko pa na-try, Lani, yung ano yung scenario na sinasabi mo na what if walang wala siyang AGI, wala siyang, yun lang yung income niya.
Hindi ko kasi alam kung parang parang disregarded na yung balance na
Pero may
2.5.
nabasa kasi ako kay ChatGPT na hindi siya disregarded. Parang pag binenta mo yung property, pwede mong iawas dun yung loss, yung passive loss, once you sold the property. May nabasa ako na ganun. So yan, magkakaroon ka ng negative 575. Pupunta yan sa mo sa dito sa 1040. Automatic madededuct siya kasi within the 25,000 allowance kasi siya eh. Sino yung mga nagre-raise hand? JB, may madadagdag ka.
Hi, Che. Hi, Lani. Question lang, for this particular example, ano yung sinelect natin? Real estate professional ba siya or hindi?
Hindi JB. Ano to, yung 306 yung number of days, so automatic passive siya.
Agree. Kasi kung hindi siya real estate, ibig sabihin active participation exemption yung mag-a-apply, which is $2,500, no?
Yes.
Okay, clear. So tama yung explanation mo kanina na dahil wala nga siyang, well, the question of Lani is, kung wala siyang W2 and
Kung wala
yung
siyang active. What if wala siyang
yes,
active activity? Yun yung question na hindi ko rin alam, hindi ko rin sure kung paano pag walang active. Saan mapupunta yung 2,575? Sa theory na search ko, pwede naman siya i-carry over once na binenta mo yung vacation home. Kaso sa ProConnect, di ko siya alam kung paano palabasin.
ipakita.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, sige. Try kong i-check. Thank you.
Ayun. So kung merong makapagpakita sa inyo nun, ma-share sa susunod na mga natin session. Yes po, Almaline. Ang dami nag-view.
Cherry, yung mga allowable deductions pag real estate, ano-ano sila? Kailangan ba paid within the year lang? What are those allowable deductions?
What do
Repairs
you
and
mean?
maintenance, insurance premium, pwede ba sila? Bukod sa depreciation?
Yes. Nasa po yun, ProConnect, nakalista po yung mga expenses dun eh. Yung list. Tapos meron kasi, hindi ko papakita.
As in lahat pwede? Or meron din certain amount lang? For bawat expense, like for example, sa repairs and maintenance, always may threshold, parang ganun. Ganun ba?
You mean po ba i-allocate? Kung kasi may personal
for example, na yung purely ito, di ba, RE siya, nagpapa Airbnb, whatever, no? So, di ba hindi siya passive kasi sabi ni yan lang talaga yung kanyang source of income. So let's say nagkaroon siya ng repairs and maintenance expense, meron siyang insurance premium, tapos may depreciation siya. For example, 3,000 sa repairs and maintenance, 2,000 sa insurance premium, 1,500 sa depreciation. So lahat yan, walang threshold, lahat yun ida-deduct yung full amount.
Opo, kasi kaya ka naman nagkaroon ng expense dahil dun sa business mo na yun eh. So, dun talaga siya ma-deduct. Pero yung ibig niyo po bang sabing threshold is kung maki-carry over or hindi? Pag po
Oo, parang ganon. Kung for example, hindi ngayon, parang pag para sa ganito, kasi hindi ko kabisado pang ruling ng IRS sa US. For example, sa hanggang ganito lang. Parang 'di ba usually parang ang basis natin yung gross income lang niya, like sa mortgage premium ba
Yes
yun?
po.
O yung mga ganon. So, yun
Sinearch
lang,
ko po,
clarify ko lang.
sinearch ko po yan. Meron po kasing mga expenses, may mga tier, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Usually tier 1, hindi po siya pwedeng i-carry forward. And ang isang example po na nakita ko doon is si mortgage. Tapos hindi ko na ni-research yung iba kung ano pa yung iba. Tapos yung mga tier 2, tier 3 na pwede pong i-carry forward, yun yung mga regular na expenses katulad po ng mga
Regular
utilities,
nga siya na
repairs, yes
expenses.
po.
Oh,
Pwede nyo rin po i-double check sa KAI kung pong
okay.
yung mga nagtatanong, ganun din po yung katanungan.
Yes,
Ayan.
Che. If I may
Thank
share,
you.
Che, no, kaya ako
Yes.
nagtanong kanina earlier regarding real estate professional ba siya? Kasi the ruling is fully deductible yon kapag real estate professional siya.
Oo.
So, yun yung punto yun yung gusto ko yung i-raise din kay Miss Alma. Ang tanong na lang dito ngayon, what if hindi siya talaga real estate professional? So,
Oo.
meaning, may mga certain deductions na hindi talaga maki-carry over as losses. Dahil doon sa tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 na application.
Kasi pag sa gantong mere example, hindi natin siya basta-basta mapapakita kasi unang-una, hindi naman natin itong gantong senaryo di naman niya sinabi kung real estate ano siya, 'di ba? Paano
Yes.
kung ito lang yung source of income niya pero hindi naman siya real estate professional, parang gano'n. Kaya
Yes,
hindi rin
yes.
natin talaga masyadong mapapakita din eh.
Oo,
Ma-offset actually siya kung
parang
ano, kung
dapat kasi
magkano.
parang naging specific tayo, no? Meron pa tayong ibang details para mas
Yes
matumbok
po.
natin yung ano. 'Di ba kasi parang ang vague eh.
Pero
So parang
siguro
ang
kaya 'to
hirap.
pinakita, ni-request ni Chris para makita lang natin kung saan mapupunta yung mga
Si
ganyan,
JR
ano.
kanina pa naka-raise yung
Hindi ko
hands.
nakikita, sorry. JR? Ayun. Mm. Disallowed? Ah, sa ProConnect? Sa ProConnect? Yun nga eh, kasi nga hindi ko rin siya mapalabas kung paano. Kaya in-override ko siya eh. Hindi ko alam kung saan siya palalabasin. Yes, pag sa iba ko siya nilagay, may ibang report na nagge-generate and naiiba yung total. So far, lahat ng tinesting ko, ito lang yung pinaka-tumutugma eh, na lumalabas siya sa statements and worksheet. Okay lang. JR, also gusto ko i-correct yung usapan natin last time dun sa i-itemize. Ang i-itemize lang yung personal part. Yes, yung 2,575, passive loss siya. Hindi siya i-itemize. Oo, yung pwede lang i-itemize yung personal part. Ayan, para clear lang. Baka kasi nga mali din yung nasa... Yes, i-itemize yun. Kung i-off niya mag-itemize deduction. Pero yung sa excess na 2,500 dito sa income statement, passive loss siya. And yung question nga natin is, what if, paano siya maki-carry over kung ito lang mismo yung income mo, wala siyang AGI, wala siyang W2, wala siyang active income. So yun yung question natin na siguro pwede nating tanungin kay Chris next time. Ayan, mayroon pa pong nag-raise hand kanina. Hindi ko nakita masyado. Ayan. Wala na po. Pwede na tayo siguro may prayer, stop share na po ako ha.
Thank you, Cherry.
Yes po. Thank you din po sa mga nagtanong. At least na-clear po natin kahit papaano. Sino pong prayer leader po natin? Magko-closing prayer.
Yes, Cherry ako, si Ma Annabel.
Pwede na po.
Hello.
Pwede na po, Annabel.
Okay na? Done na tayo? Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we come to close of this webinar, we thank you for being with us throughout this session. Thank you for the wisdom, inspirations, and meaningful insights shared today. We are grateful for our mentor Chris, facilitators, and every participant who made this session a success. May the lessons we gained guide us toward better opportunities and help us become more empowered, hopeful, and prepared for the journey ahead. Grant us the perseverance to apply what we have learned with purpose and passion. May these experiences continue to shape us into better versions of ourselves, ready to serve, grow, and make a difference. All of this we ask in your holy name. Amen. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Che.
Thank you po sa lahat.
Bye.
See you po tomorrow.
Thank you,
Thank
Cherry.
you.
Recording stopped.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye po.
Thank you.